Right, next up at the auction is Lot 42. Who wants to bid on this collection of silly voices and skits and characters trying to make people laugh?
1,000.
What if I told you there was also discussion of the news and the week and the things that people had played?
10,000.
What if I told you it included some people who you do not know who are positive to be around and homosexual?
24 quadrillion.
Sold! Lot 42 has sold. That is Queer and Pleasant Strangers going to the highest bidder.
Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers, that podcast where two queer trans ladies talk about our weeks and have a catch-up and do some questions and some skits and some silly voices.
That's us.
Just have a bit of a pleasant catch-up in that, innit?
Yeah, pretty much.
How's your week been?
So uneventful I've not really thought about it. It's been quite quiet. I suppose Halloween happened.
It's been nice to have a quiet one, where we just had like some evenings in watching films and stuff.
We did. We did some. We had some quiet ones. We had like quite a nice one out. We went and watched the fireworks.
We saw some friends.
Saw some friends. I got to dress up in my awesome Halloween costume.
You were very spooky.
I was so spoop, and then I came home and we did a slightly less spoopy Halloween.
We're still dressed up, but it wasn't quite so bleeding eyes.
Yeah, there was no bleeding eyes.
No one that wanted to throw up maggots or anything.
No coughing up maggots, no.
So yeah, it's been nice to have a bit of a quieter week this week. I think we've needed it after the last few months.
Yeah, definitely. So, what have you been twiddling your thumbs with?
Well, I've been twiddling my thumbs with. We've been twiddling our thumbs with a thing together the other night. So we started playing some of Jackbox 5.
Yeah?
Yeah, so for anyone who's never played the Jackbox games, basically it's a bunch of games. You use your phone as the controller to answer them. There are a lot of party games. Generally, they're about silly wordplay and the such.
Sometimes drawing.
Sometimes drawings, sometimes silly drawings. So we couldn't try all of the games in Jackbox 5 because
Smudge can't operate a controller.
No, so being two people and several of the games needing 3 players, we've not had a chance to try out. I think the ones that are the ones that I'm excited to find out if they're any good. But we did get to try out the new You Don't Know Jack and a game called Zeepeldome. Do you want to get Zeepeldome out the way first?
It's not very good. There you go.
It's a game that's you use your phone to select angles and catapult these little people around the screen and try and fire them at these enemies to defeat them.
Yeah.
It's not really in the spirit of most of the Jackbox games, which are about, hey, here's some silly interactivity between friends.
It was trying to turn what is generally a silly fun party game of drawing and silly answers and trying to make each other laugh into a sort of co-op platforming catapult game.
Well, it's not the first time that they've tried to do a not so silly co-op experience. In Jackbox 4, I think it was, or it might be in 3, there was a game called Bomb Corps.
Okay.
Or Bomb Corp, and it was you were working in a bomb diffusal company, and you had to work together with the other players in the room to defuse bombs. But each of you only had part of the information required to defuse the bomb.
Okay, so a version of Keep Talking Nobody Explodes, but with everybody's got part of the manual.
Yeah, that's basically the deal, and that was interesting because there was chaos because of the trying to work out what you need to do. This is the first time with a Jackbox game that I've played it and gone, this would have been a better game without the phone usage.
Definitely.
If this had just been using a controller...
Yeah, with just an analog stick you've sort of pinged down.
It felt unresponsive because obviously it's having to go from the phone to the internet to the game.
Yeah.
For not typing things in, but for a moving things in real time.
Around.
It just didn't feel quite responsive enough.
No.
To be fun.
No, and sometimes I was finding I didn't have the option to control. It was greying out.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure why that was.
Have I run out of jumps or what?
It wasn't.
But there were other times when I could jump, and then while I was still in the air, sort of ping in a different direction.
Yeah, it wasn't terribly clear with its own mechanics. Which is a shame, because the general concept was actually kind of cute, that it was, you're flinging these, like, people at the aliens, and at the end they're like, we did it, but we're quite injured as a result. And I was like, it was a cute little idea that just didn't work.
Yeah.
But we played some You Don't Know Jack.
We did.
That was better.
Yeah, I enjoy the You Don't Know Jack games. I first played the UK edition of You Don't Know Jack, which came out, early 90s, I think?
Yeah.
With Paul Kay as the voice of Jack Cake. And it was very silly and of its time.
It's very much like, it's a quiz show, but not only are the questions silly, the way the questions are asked is sometimes complicated, in that you have to, like, decipher what the question is out of a sort of interesting run-up.
Yeah, it's sort of to keep the... What is it they used to say? It's You Don't Know Jack, the game where high culture and pop culture collide.
Yes, you have to sort of... Yeah, there's often ones where, like, well, what if this pop singer, and a reference to their lyrics, but also a reference to this Renaissance painting, what would the answer be?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed the You Don't Know Jack games.
Yeah.
I really like the whole fake streaming service they've got this one wrapped up in, with its adverts for non-existent documentaries that I would watch a lot of those.
I like that they've got that method, because the adverts was always some of the funniest bits on there, I found. Like, with the original UK edition, like, as the game ended, there were just credits and like, all different adverts for things that were amazing. And the idea that they can just take a bunch of stock photos and stick random titles over. What could this be a show about?
You might see the same picture multiple times, but with different fake title captions. It reminded me a lot of, and this was another Jackbox game, Bidiots. When you get the fake adverts for the Loan Shark company.
Yeah.
It felt very in that sort of vein of...
They've learnt to meme. They can use the same thing to change different pictures.
Yeah, I do enjoy their fake adverts for, what was it, Binge Pipe?
Binge Pipe, yes.
Yeah. So,
a sort of slightly menacing ISP.
I don't think this is going to change your mind on You Don't Know Jack if you've disliked it in the past.
No.
But if you've enjoyed it in the past, it's more Jack. It's more You Don't Know Jack. I very much enjoyed when we came across the my brother, my brother and P. The podcast related question. I was like, well done.
And there was a nice little sort of behind the scenes bit during the credits for that,
of their different
explaining like the ideas they had coming up with that,
trying to come up with other podcast parody names for that question.
Yeah, basically it was a this or that question where you had to work out if it was a podcast or a
was it an incontinence
product?
Yeah. So
and
it was a lot
they
of...
just rattled through this whole list of things we could have made just podcasts.
Like, all of the titles were like podcast title and bodily function.
Yeah, wasn't there? There was a couple that I recognised.
The one that I remember was the Plop House, which is
the
Flop House, which is another Maximum Fun podcast. I've never listened to the Flop House, but I was like, I know what that reference is.
I get this. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I look forward to getting to play the rest of it at some point.
What have you played this week?
I've not played a lot. I started, for reasons slowly becoming beyond my comprehension, I started playing Pokemon Go because Pokemon Let's Go is coming out, and I wanted to get a bit of a head start on some mons, so I've been running around with my phone this week and trying out the Pokemon Go Plus, because you've got one kicking around that you weren't using. So
how were you getting on with that? Because you played some of this when it first came out.
Yes, and I was annoyed at the whole concept and the fact that it wrecked my battery in about 5% of a day.
It wrecked everyone's batteries.
Exactly, so I kind of just stopped caring.
Yeah.
I think I'm about ready to stop playing this again now. I've played it for about a week. I'm about level 21. I've got, you got
a Pokemon in a gym that you've defended for a few days.
Yeah, like 2.5 days. You were in there until this morning.
Yeah, I was.
I've enslaved many animals to fight for my cause. That's how Pokemon works, right?
Yeah.
I've done that.
You keep getting the shinies that I can't find.
I've got like 2 shinies. I got a Pinsir and a Ponyta today.
Yeah, both of which I'm like, I've not found them
You
yet.
can have the Ponyta and the Pinsir.
I appreciate this offer, but I'm more like, Grumble Game, I put so much time into you. I caught like 120 Ponyta today. Where's my shiny?
See, they're trying to encourage me to stay by offering me the shiny thing.
Yeah, whereas they're trying to encourage me by not giving me the thing so that I'll keep playing.
You're already hooked. You'll keep playing no matter what we give you.
There's a bit of a curve, isn't there, where they've got to give you very good stuff to get you hooked, and then they've got to stop giving you stuff at a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still Pokemon Go. There's more Pokemon in it. The Pokemon Go Plus becomes less useful as you sort of start to level up, because there's some of the things you'll find you won't be able to catch with a single standard Pokeball, and it won't throw anything apart from that. It's handy for spinning Pokestops if you happen to live near one, and you can just sit there going bing, bing, bing.
Bing, 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 bing.
There you go, I have more balls. That's tomorrow lunchtime sorted.
I've definitely found that a useful tool for just like, so that I don't have to buy balls, I can just be like bing, 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 there we go.
Yeah. And with the new one, I was reading from the like news this morning, or was it this morning or yesterday, about the Pokemon Go Plus ball thing?
Yes.
That'll spin your Pokestops for you.
Yeah, if you've got a Pokemon in it, I believe.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah. So, that game continues to be like my jam, because the entire point of that game is just collect the things, fill in the virtual sticker album with all the things, and I'm like, this is the particular virtual sticker album that I like a lot. So I play a lot of that game.
I'm very glad you enjoy it. It's not really for me though.
No, that's fair. But hopefully you'll enjoy Pokemon Let's Go a little bit more, because that actually has like a world to run around in and battles to do and things.
I want a tiny Bidoof friend.
I don't think you can get a Bidoof,
but they're so sweet
in Let's Go, because it's Gen 1. But...
Fine, Bulbasaur it is.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you can probably find one of those.
Although if it's Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, surely my starter is automatically going to be one of those.
As I understand it, your starter is whichever version of the game you get, but I'm pretty sure we've seen Bulbasaur, Squirtle and Charmander in trailers, so presumably, I would guess it's probably a bit like Yellow, in that you can probably get them from places in the world. But... that is, I cannot confirm.
Well, Yellow's the only one I've really spent any time with, and that was some years ago. I dread to think how many now.
Yellow is like, has a place in my heart, Yellow.
I like the way it had that digital voicing for Pikachu.
Yeah. So, have you played anything else this week?
That one was me. What you do?
I played some more Dark Souls on the Switch.
Ah, yes, I saw.
Continues to be very enjoyable. It's a good port of Dark Souls. I still cannot change around the A and B button functions in menus, and that upsets me greatly.
It's weird that that's just like that. There's that small section of like 6 options that are completely locked.
Yeah, no, like in the options menu, it's like you can change the bindings for a lot of things, but you can't change the A and B for accept and decline in menus, and
you can't change is it the items on the left side?
It seems so weird when they otherwise offer you key rebinding.
I can kind of understand why not the ones on the left side, because that obviously matches where the screen displays are for those items, but...
Yeah, but, like, it's so weird to not let you switch around, like, make A be accept and B as decline. Yeah. You playing anything else?
I played a game called Townsmen.
Oh, this one.
It reminds me of, like, a browser medieval city building game. I know there was one popular recently, like within the last couple of years, that a lot of people in offices play.
The sort of thing where it's like, it will load on Facebook on my phone, or
not
whatever.
even on Facebook. Like, it'll load in a browser, and you can just sit there on Google and play it if you happen to have nothing better to do. And I've seen people play that sort of thing, and they just seem to be like little, fairly simple city builders. I started playing this. I thought, you know what? It's a city builder. Might it be a good idea to sort of get a feel for things? I hit up the tutorial. I've been playing the game for about 5 or 6 hours. I'm currently on chapter 5 of the tutorial.
Yeah, and it wasn't letting you, like, you could see what the next step of the tutorial was going to be, and it wouldn't let you just do the thing.
Yeah, I think like chapter 4 or something had this whole thing about learning to do like a food supply chain, and they were talking about how like, oh, your fisherman can't cope with the amount of people in the city on his own, so you need to start making bread. The first thing you'll need to do is get somebody to harvest all this wheat. With the wheat they've harvested, you'll need to rebuild the mill because that burnt down last year. So you start building the mill, and you're like, well, I'm going to need a bakery next. I've got enough resources. I'll just pop by the old build menu there, and no, I can't do that. No, I can't. Oh, okay. So I'll just whack the game in 5 times speed for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I get to build the bakery. That's awesome. And then I'll just wait for that to happen as well.
Hooray!
And then yesterday I had like a much longer chain of things to do, and it just went on and on and on. I was like,
It just sounds like pulling teeth a little bit.
maybe it's a bit different once you actually start the game and you can do things simultaneously. But at this point, it's like there are things in here that you wouldn't necessarily think to do if you didn't really understand sort of medieval villages.
Yeah,
Like you need charcoal, so you need to build a burner, and then other people need that charcoal for like smelting.
Yeah.
So you can make iron bars as opposed to just having iron ore kicking around.
Yeah.
And then you can build tools with that, and then so you need a tool workshop to build tools. And it's just one thing after another going on and on and on and on. In a not particularly interesting way so far. And it's a tutorial and it's got a plot to it. I think this tutorial could have been sort of sorted out a bit if they'd just gone, hey, you need this to make this, and this to make this, and this to make this. This is basically how it works. Or even, you need this to get food, this will get you started. Here is a thing which will give you like a nice tree of what everything needs to run everything else. Rather than the overly complicated version they have at the moment. And I think that would be sort of handy for later on, because...
Yeah, something to be able to reference back to.
Yeah, just nice little tech tree. You need these, this is how it works. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I have a little bit of experience with Townsmen. Not this version of the game, but at Gamescom I played a VR tech demo they had for Townsmen VR.
Ooh.
And it was a one little island plopped in the middle of the ocean, and I could like pull my hands apart to like zoom in, or push them together to zoom out, or I could grab clouds and push them together to make a thundercloud.
Oh.
And I could pick up things, and I could pick up a fish and then drop it back in the water.
So much more of a god game than a city builder.
Yeah, it was a lot more... Well, you could do city building things. Like,
Okay.
you could build things and pick where to place them, and then, like, watch the people go and build the thing and do their routine. Like, I think you could pick up unassigned townspeople and just, like, drop them on a location, and they would become the type of worker for that location.
Okay, so
But-
part god game, part city builder.
Yeah, it was a little bit of both, but, like, it was clearly a sandbox tech demo that didn't really have any aim. Like, it was lacking any kind of interconnectedness between these parts or any kind of goal or anything. It was odd. It was a visually impressive tech demo, but there wasn't enough game for me to know if this was gonna be a good game. Yeah.
Hashtag disappoint. So what else have you played?
Since last week's episode, I have played Deltarune, which I feel we're about a week away from it. I don't feel
It's over the 24 hours.
I don't feel bad talking minor conceptual spoilers for this. This is Toby Fox, the guy who made Undertale. It's his new game. It was very confusing what it was, because you boot it up and it's like, oh, this is Undertale 2? It's a sequel to one of Undertale's ending? No, none of this makes sense. What is this? According to Toby Fox, it's like an alternative universe, separate... It's kind of Majora's Mask-y. You will see a lot of the characters you know from the first game, but in very different remixed contexts.
Okay.
And even if a character looks like someone you know from that previous game, it doesn't necessarily mean that they know who you are or that their relationships to other people are the same.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It
Like-
makes sense. I mean, I understand the concepts that you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know how that fits into the concept of the world in which it's set.
There's a reasonable thing, like, Undertale, a big part of the plot is timelines keep getting messed with, characters keep going back in time and, like, completely rewriting the timeline, and as such, this...
You mean players finishing the game and doing a new game plus?
Pretty much, but also, like, there are characters within the universe where, like, not only the player did that, but characters in the world did it too before you got there.
Okay.
Like, Undertale's universe very much exists in a world where, like, people worked out how to go back and try again with the universe, and, like, it's canon that a lot of different permutations of lives for these characters have occurred.
Okay.
So, the assumption for players right now is basically, this is another Undertale timeline that happened, which is, like, in this timeline, this character and this character never met for whatever reason, and things like that. But, basically, it's longer than people expected. It's free. It's 2.5 hours long. It is a completely new Undertale mechanics game with a bunch of new stuff in it, like a party system, and you can give commands to other party members, and
attacks can happen in the overworld.
yeah, there's a lot more attacks happening in the overworld type stuff. There is mechanics whereby getting very close to being hit, but not actually being hit, gains you points that you can use for a magic system.
What is this, Burnout?
It feels a little Burnout-y, but I had a lot of fun with Deltarune. It's clearly trying to be very different to Undertale.
Okay.
Where Undertale was very much a game about choice and about there are lots of different ways you can choose to go about this.
Mm-hmm.
Deltarune from the very beginning hammers home to the player, you don't ultimately have as much choice in life as you might feel you do. And it seems like this game's plot and mechanics are perhaps trying to do the opposite of Undertale. They're trying to reinforce a sort of false agency, perhaps? It's interesting. I don't want to spoil too much, but that seems to be the tone they're going for. But there's a lot of very fun Undertale combat in there. What?
I would struggle to call
if you
combat in
if you like the
Undertale.
kind of bullet helly RPG stuff in Undertale, this is a very smart evolution of that. I don't know how I feel about it currently, because it ends on a big old cliffhanger. It's teased as Chapter 1 of Deltarune, and according to Toby Fox, he's been working on this, like, if you go and look at the game files, some of the game files for, like, character text go back to, like, 2012. So, like, 5, 6 years old, some of this stuff, and he's like, I've been working on this for years. I don't know if I will ever finish this if I don't get a team in, but I've never had a team work for me, and I don't know if I will be any good at directing a team, so I want this game to happen, but we'll see how making a team goes. But the plan is to maybe have this be one big experience eventually, but it's just like, here's a 2.5 hour self-contained first chunk of it that you can play this and finish it, and even if the rest of those chapters never come out, this will still, in its own right, be a really good enclosed Toby Fox game. So, if you like Toby Fox games, it's free. Go play it. I highly recommend it. I had a really interesting time with it.
I'm glad.
Yeah. You played anything else?
No, that was it. I was going to say, it seems like a bit of a sort of a shareware thing really going on with there.
Yeah.
Will we be paying for the first chapter and then...
So, if he finishes it, the plan is to have all the chapters be a single paid experience. So you will pay and have all the chapters at once, and it won't be released like episode by episode or anything. It was, here's 2.5 hours.
Here's the rest of it.
Did you all like it? Should I try and make a team to finish this? What do?
What do?
So yeah, I think that's everything we've played then.
Everything we played. So...
Hello, Smudge. I'm home from work. How are you doing, Smudge?
Hungry.
But Jane, have you fed Smudge?
Yeah, she's lying to you.
Have you been fed already, Smudge?
I'm hungry, man.
Are you sure? Are you sure that Jane didn't just feed you?
I will rub my face on you because I'm brown. I'm not so hungry. Look at me. I'm wasting away. I'm wasting away.
I think that you've got quite a bit. I think you've got enough of a belly on you. You're going to be all right, Smudge.
No, it's so floof. I'm very floof of belly, but don't touch. I'm very floof.
No touch on the floof.
Starving meow. Look at the eyes. Meow. Meow. Look, I'll come and stand in front of the cupboard.
I see you standing in front of the cupboard.
This
Jane,
is where the food lives.
you fed her, right, Jane?
Yes, I fed her.
Yeah, see, Smudge, I can communicate with Jane. She's told me that she's fed you.
But look, what if I'd not been fed? This is where the food would be. So if you open the cupboard, we'll say nothing more about it. Wow.
Good try, Smudge. It's not going to work. Do you want to cuddle?
Wow. Okay.
Right, well, we are here today for another personal training session. Are you feeling ready? Are you feeling ready today?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Are you feeling ready to push yourself to the metaphorical limits of what you can achieve?
I mean, yeah.
Fantastic. Right. First up today is that washing up that's been in the sink for about 3 days. We're going to get that done. Are you ready? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Come on, let's chuck some water in there. Go, turn that tap on. Turn that tap on.
Okay.
Ah, there we go. There we go. You have got this. You have got this. Oh, I see you. You're washing the plate. You're washing the plate. Putting it on the rack. Look at you go. Personal best. Fantastic. Right. Next we've got clearing up those bits of clothing that are in the living room.
Oh.
I know. But look, you're going to feel so great when you just push through. You're going to push through that barrier. You're going to get through it. And you're going to do great.
Okay.
Right. You got this?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that's 1 piece of clothes. 2 pieces of clothes. 3 pieces of... Oh, that's 4 pieces of clothes.
Found another sock.
Found another sort of 5 pieces of clothes. Look at you go. You are on this. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
You feeling good?
Feeling good. How's this clean?
Fantastic. Right. See you next time. Personal training session. See you next time.
I'm gonna clean the toilet. Ah!
So, what have you watched this week?
Ooh! I know this.
We watched a few things.
We did. We watched Halloween 3: Season of the Witch.
Oh yes, we did. Yeah, that's a horror film,
Isn't
that
it?
we saw. That's my speed of horror film in that, like, it wasn't. Not too much of the film was too overly gory and tense
Yeah,
unnecessarily. Like, there was a few, like,
there was
ooh,
some tension in it.
yeah, and there
It
was some,
wasn't
like,
terribly well played. But...
no, and there was like, oh, that's some, like, gross people melting into bugs stuff going on and things, but
Yeah.
I could handle that kind of
Yeah.
horror film.
I mean, I like that sort of not. The kind of horror films I like tend to be a bit more psychological and less of the gornography.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind seeing someone's face burnt off when they're messing around with hair grips or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want an entire film of, hey, look, we're just butchering people.
Well-
Look at us butchering people. Isn't that horrific?
Here's the
No,
thing,
that's kind
like,
of boring.
I can live with gore if it seems like it's serving a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I kind of enjoyed the first Saw film. It was a bit, like, horror gory, but, like, it was for a purpose. It felt like the gore was used to hit home a point.
Yeah, and and the story was interesting.
Yeah. Go beyond the first Saw film and it does just become torture porn, but,
Yeah.
like... That's the thing, like, I don't mind a person, like, grotesquely melting into insects if it's for a point, which it was in
Yeah.
Halloween 3.
Although there are some dodgy as heck Irish accents in that film.
Oh, the entire town of just like, oh, hey, top of the morning, we're Ireland
It
town.
was a little bit la-di-da-di.
Oh, we got
Whatever
our
you
silver
call it.
shamrock and we're la-di-da Ireland town. It did seem a little bit like everyone was the strongest Irish stereotype they could be in Shamrock Town.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little
but
bit.
it was an interesting story, and they do some interesting things with it. It doesn't feature Michael Myers, apart from in an advert for the first Halloween film.
Yeah, no, apparently the first Halloween film is canon in the third Halloween film.
It
Yeah.
exists in that universe.
We sat down to watch it, and I was like, okay, so here's what I know about the plot of Halloween 1, and you were like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't
You don't
worry
get
about
it.
Michael Myers, it's cool. But, yeah, I will say it's predictable. Like, the first...
What, you predicted that they'd stolen the thing and done the thing with it?
No, what I will say is, the first time that jingle played, I was like, oh, that's a villain. That's a villain, innit?
That's the bad guys. Well,
Yeah.
But to be fair, the way they use that jingle...
Yeah, no,
It
it's clever.
becomes more and more terrifying.
It is clever what they do with it, even if they signpost their villain incredibly early. But like, I guess that's.
I think that's part of the tension because it's the dramatic irony. You know that they're bad.
I know that this thing is bad, but I don't know why it's bad. Like, if I was in that universe, I could go, something's fucking wrong with this jingle. I can't tell you what, but don't trust them.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Like the growing tension of every
Are they
time
going to sort shit out? Or
every
not?
time this repeats, the positivity of it gets more unsettling.
And I don't know if they changed the tone of it at any point in the film, but by the end it becomes quite sinister.
I think it's the context perhaps makes it sound more sinister as it goes.
Yeah, I remember I first watched it when I was way too young. It was randomly on television around Halloween, funnily enough. And I remember it sort of walking past a room and hearing it on like a couple of years later and being really freaked out.
Yeah, I can see how, even if I hear that tune without the lyrics over it.
And it's not even the... It's that...
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, that was a good pick of horror film
Thank
that
you.
you did on the Halloween night. You found one that was right in my wheelhouse of what I was good with.
It's one of my favourite Halloween films.
I think I need to see some more of your favourite Halloween films because you have a good handle on my Halloween tastes, I think.
I'm glad you enjoyed. So what have you watched?
Well, we watched another thing
We
together.
watched lots of things this week.
We watched Thor Ragnarok together.
We did. It was good.
That was a good, enjoyable film, wasn't it?
I enjoyed that. Got to see more Loki.
That film's got a really good pace to its comedy, hasn't
It
it?
does.
It's very...
It's bright and colourful.
It's
comedic.
Yeah, it's just like very positive fun. Like nothing in it is particularly mean.
True. I mean, we did have to see Mark Ruffalo, but apart from that,
We did, which is a shame. But like, I thought like the action scenes were really like good and dramatic and had some good cuts in them.
yeah, it was nice. It was colourful. Like spaceship design and things like that, and world design was really interesting.
It's by far the best Thor film. Like, it's the only Thor film I would ever want to rewatch.
Yeah. I did briefly consider watching the first one again recently, just because I'd forgotten it.
Yeah.
Which clearly says a lot about the first
If you
Thor.
fancy rewatching it, I'll rewatch it with you. I don't remember disliking it, I just don't remember it.
And then we spent, what was it, half an hour going, what do you remember from Thor 2? We didn't remember much at all.
Here is my summary as best I understand it. Let us know by tweet or whatever how correct or incorrect I am. I'm pretty sure, and I don't actually remember this happening, but I remember reading a Wikipedia, I think. Christopher Eccleston is a dark elf, and all the planets are going to line up, and he's going to steal the sun. I think that was the plot. He wants, like, eternal darkness for the dark elves.
Oh. On what system?
All of
The
them.
GameCube version? I remember something about Loki being like an ice giant rescued by Odin at the end of some battle or something.
I think that's the film where at the end Loki kills and replaces... replaces
Odin.
Odin, yeah.
I only know that from the context of watching the beginning of the third one.
Yeah. I know that Odin has been gotten rid of. I think it happens on screen at the end. Like, we get a thing where Odin's on screen and then it, like, Thor walks away and it's like, it was Loki. But...
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. What about you? What you watched?
We watched the fireworks.
Oh, fireworks.
It's very nice.
We took a walk up a hill in pitch black with some torches.
Yeah.
Very
Had some hot
wrapped
chocolate.
up. Very
Some
wrapped up.
marshmallows.
There was cinnamon in the hot chocolate. It was great.
It was synonym hot chocolate. I made it special.
We walked up the top of this big hill where we get a really nice view over our local area.
Yeah,
And
it's all nice and flat that side.
I think we expected, like, it's either going to be really busy or there's going to be no one there.
And there was no one there.
When there was no one there, it's like, is that because it's a terrible view or because, like,
It's awkward and cold.
I think it's just because it was awkward and cold. We had a lovely night. We just watched all these disparate fireworks shows in the distance.
Yeah, and had some lovely chats and sipped our hot chocolate with lovely marshmallows.
They were all sort of far enough away we weren't getting too much noise from them.
Not too much
just
noise, but all the pretties.
Yeah, just seeing like, oh, there's one.
That's
there's
pretty.
one.
Look at that. We think we could see something like, overall, I think we could see something like 7 or 8 different displays. Some of them back gardens, some of them proper
I think
displays.
there were 7 or 8 consecutive ones
Yeah.
through most of that time. There was always a few things happening.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
What have you watched?
We watched another film together. We watched Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
We did.
A film that, like, if you cut out, like, one subplot in the middle that's, like, 5 to 10 minutes long, it would be, like, one of my favourite films.
It would be the Bond film I always wanted.
I think, like, we could probably make a director's cut of this that is, like
a fan edit.
Yeah, we can make a fan edit that would be... Okay, there's one subplot in the middle of this spy film where it's like, oh, that's a little not consenty of sex boundaries. But, like, take that away.
Yeah.
It was a very funny film.
It had humour, it had interesting action scenes, it had cool gadgets.
Yeah.
And that's basically all I've ever wanted from like that kind of movie. Like
it's combat. Its action scenes are very well done.
Yeah, there's some nice sort of emotional scenes.
Yeah,
and the characters and it's good.
I liked the sort of twists and turns of the plot and the sort of we're not entirely sure who to trust or not.
Yeah,
in this. And I really liked the villain's motivation in that film.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Like, I don't necessarily agree with the way she went about it, but, like, her end... We sat and discussed this after we finished. We were like...
You were like, I really like her, and I'm like, yes, but what is her slippery slope?
But, like, here's the thing. If we just go off what's in the film...
Yeah.
Her end goal, as stated in the film, is a thing where I'm like... I agree that should be a thing. I agree that should be a thing. I'd have been happy if she'd... If her end goal was purely what was shown in the film... I kind of would have liked her to win.
Yeah.
And to get what she wanted.
Yeah.
Because if she got what she wanted, like...
What would have happened then?
Nothing bad would have come of it. Like, so long as she didn't go and then do an evil plan afterwards.
Yeah. As long as there wasn't a slippery slope to fall down.
If it was just, okay, I did it, I'm happy. I
clearly spent too long on the freaking internet, don't I?
Yeah.
Because I immediately see the thing, this character is essentially the antagonist. And I suppose they were quite brutally killing people.
Yeah, no, like...
Which makes me think that perhaps there was more to it.
This is it, like, she kills multiple people on her way to this end goal, and that is, like... And she puts a lot of lives at risk. Like, she's willing to play God with a lot of people's lives to get what she's after. But I ultimately think that she's right with what she's going for, and that, like, she's not the shitty one in the exchange that the president is the...
She's almost an anti-hero.
She's almost an anti-hero with the president being the villain, and I don't think that I think their projection of what the president would do when faced with this antagonist.
If we were talking about someone like the current president, I think you'd probably be right.
I think that Donald Trump would do exactly what this president did.
And worse.
Yeah.
He'd probably start shooting them.
That's the thing. I wish that one kind of no sex consent thing was removed. Because take that out, this film is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean,
and, like, even with that in there, I will sort of grin and bear that.
Yeah, I reckon you could hack, like, 15 minutes out of that film. There would be one action scene that you would lose because it just wouldn't make any sense anymore. But I think you could largely get around the rest of the film with that just cut out.
Yeah. I think you could definitely find a way of doing a fan edit of that would be one of my favourite films.
Yeah.
Might even try that at some point. Might try putting one together.
I do enjoy a fan edit.
Yeah. You watched anything else this week?
No. I watched you play Dark Souls. I don't think that counts.
I don't think that counts because we already mentioned it. And in that case, time for this.
Laura, we've got another sponsor!
Another sponsor? All these sponsors, who are we sponsored by this week?
This week we have been sponsored by Gooey Roll. You can get all the latest hentai on demand, ad-free, 24 hours a day in high quality, with high quality subs and streaming at 1080p.
What if you prefer your hentai in dub? Do they have the dubs as well?
You can do subs and dubs.
Subs and dubs. Are they simulcast? Can I watch my hentai the same day it airs in Japan?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
We've got titles such as
Egg Implant 3.
Tentacles 6.
Honey, I don't think that's my tentacle.
Darling, I'm pretty sure it is. 2.
What's that goo?
Demon Fuck Beast from another dimension and Sally.
Ah, wonderful. What a classic.
I've seen all 67.
I can't wait till they release number 69.
Hey!
So that's Gooey Roll?
That is Gooey Roll. You can just head over there to gooeyroll.squish and just click the microphone at the top and enter the code Q and PS42 to get 10% off your first month of all that good quality hentai. Gooey Roll.
You'll know that you've put the code in correctly if it makes a squelch sound. Welcome, one and all, to this year's 2018 Office Olympics. That one time of year when head office bosses are coming in and everyone needs to take part in activities to get the office back in order. What's our first event?
First event today will be Olympic recycling, emptying. We've got Dave from accounts who's going to be going around collecting up as much recycling as possible. They'll be facing off against Brian from HR, and they'll be emptying the confidential recycling, so actually a much harder challenge there.
Oh, indeed, and he's off to a fantastic start. Dave, from the looks of it, he looks like he's going to try and do the entire recycling in a single trip. That means we're taking 3 recycling bins at once. Sure, he's slowing down because of it. Maybe it'd be quicker to do it in 3 separate loads, but Dave is intent on doing this in one trip, and he is giving it a proper good go.
Oh, and I can see that Patricia from accounting has actually flagged him down.
Oh, goodness. She's got so much stuff, and it hasn't even been shredded yet.
It hasn't been shredded yet at all, so that's gonna really set him back slightly. Hopefully that won't affect his lap time too much.
Switching over to one of the other events, we've got the 400-metre paperwork finishing dash. We have got several of our team. Actually, pretty much most of the people in the office are competing in this particular event because they have a large stack of paperwork and have really not bothered to touch it.
Yes, it seems that most of the office have in fact spent so long watching the Olympics events that have been going on today. We had Pamela do that amazing 500-yard dash and leap to attempt to grab a coffee cup that was falling off the side of somebody's desk, and she did absolutely stunning with a gold in that.
Indeed, but seeing all the people who have fallen behind on their work because they're watching does make me think perhaps Olympic-style events were not the most productive way to get the office clean.
No, and I suppose that we only have ourselves to blame, but we do look a little bit of dramatic tension in the office.
Indeed. Join us in 2019 when we once again have to do this event because we once again forgot to keep on top of our shit.
So, what have you inserted into your ear holes?
I've listened to some new music this week.
Some new music.
I listened to I Was an Island by Alison Weiss. It's sort of a little bit acoustic punk rock track with a sort of distorted femme vocal track. Mm-hmm. It is a song about how being with someone that you love can make it hard to go back to being alone. That once you sort of realise what it can be like to have someone else very deeply intertwined in your life, that you can be like, well, this is it now. You got me.
I've got a bit of a hole in my soul.
Got a bit of me what needs intertwining now. It's a very sweet little track. What about you? What you listen to?
I think we should do all of yours and then all of mine, because all of mine are very related.
Okay, well, I will go through all of mine pretty quickly.
You don't have to.
There's another track called Never Meant by Tanner Swift. It's another acoustic-y rock track, this time with a more masculine vocal. Sort of just a track about regretting times in your life that you've unintentionally hurt people. And that's sort of just... It doesn't change the fact that it happened, but I never meant for these things to happen. It's a little bit somber, but I liked it.
Yeah.
There was another one called All My Friends by Ren. Femme vocals, sort of a laid-back, bouncy kind of beat about wanting to just kind of forget about the world and get a bit fucked up with friends, and how that can be tricky when you are on the outside edges of a social group, where, like, you aren't really a core part of the group that you're with. It's an interesting track. It's a little bittersweet, but I enjoyed it. What about you? What things you listen to?
I've listened to lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of ambient mixes. I've just been feeling the need to not focus too much on news, not focus too much on an election I don't even have a vote in, and the all the other badness. So I've gone with lots of ambient. I've been listening to the Relaxation Meditation Ambient Music channel on YouTube, and also a channel just called Ambient. So on the first one, I've been listening to Calm Space Ambient Music. I don't know if they're all called that. It's about a 3-hour mix. It's very nice and chill. Just good, something to zone out to, and it's good if you're writing. I like a bit of ambient, something with no lyrics, something a bit chill. You can sort of switch off, and it all sort of flows together in a nice, soft, comforting mush for the ears.
I can certainly appreciate the need for that sometimes.
And on the ambient channel, I listen to 3 mixes: Infinite, Daydream, and Afterglow, and I would definitely recommend all 3 of those. Specifically Infinite. So there we go.
Wow, that's everything I'll listen to.
That's everything I've listened to.
Well then, time for this.
Coming soon on the Wealth Network, the channel for the mega rich. There's only a few weeks left until Thanksgiving. That can only mean one thing: the miniature purge that is Black Friday. Watch people much poorer than you beating the shit out of each other live at opening time. We've sent out advertising for ridiculously low prices on TVs that you wouldn't force your dog to watch. And our Twitter bots have been riling up the masses to fight to the death just to throw money into your pocket. In an event so brutal you won't even need to purge the electoral register. Don't forget to tune in all this week to watch live footage of people sleeping on the streets just for a chance to buy an iPad that's actually much cheaper online. That's right, it's Black Friday. Dum dum dum. It's RPG time.
Oh no, what's happening now?
Have you got your dice?
I have a die.
Good. You find yourself standing in front of a large wooden door.
Ooh, what's the rest of the room like?
It's largely black.
Oh, okay. I attempt to open the door.
You open the door, and inside is a large white space that looks to be very cushiony and soft.
Oh, I'm going to run in and jump into this room. It looks very comfy.
Okay, you run in and jump in, and you bounce off the floor, and it's all bouncy and squishy and lovely, and there's really sort of nice squishy like blankets and cushions and duvets, and
this is amazing. I feel like I've won the campaign already.
And you see, in sort of to one side of the room, a large white fuzzy blob.
Hello.
Roll to hello.
I got a plus to hello.
You got a positive hello. So you say hello, not too loud as so as to disturb anything, but you notice that the white fluffy blob is breathing, and it seems to make a little snuffle. And it sort of unfurls itself into this large, about slightly bigger than a bear cub. But it's got very long pile fur, almost like as long as a Malamute. But it is sort of perfect white. You get the impression it's like sort of polar berry with the hollow fibres, so that they just show up and white because of all the other white around you. And it's all big and soft and purry, and it has a little snoot and these little black beady eyes and lots of fur all over, and these big sort of pointy, almost like furry foxes. Not quite real foxes, but furry fox type ears.
Yeah.
And it sort of like does a little yawn at you. What you can do?
I want to befriend this thing so I can do a petting and a snoogling.
Roll to befriend.
Plus!
Okay, success. The snuggly floof makes a purring noise as you try to pet it.
Oh!
What do you want to do?
Snoogle with the floof.
Okay, roll to snoogle.
Oh no, it's a minus. Oh no!
Okay,
I failed my snoogle.
You start to snoogle, but you slightly poke it a bit hard.
Oh no!
And it retracts back.
Oh no!
And it covers its eyes. Because you have done a frighten, and it's shaking ever so slightly.
Can I apologise?
Okay, roll to apologise. Okay,
Neutral.
You apologise. It still looks a little bit unsure, but it's sort of not hiding behind its paws anymore.
Oh, no. Can you understand me, friend?
It sort of tilts its head at you. It doesn't seem to have any sort of understanding of your language, though.
Can I offer my hand out and see if it will come to me?
Okay, so you hold your hand out, and it does a little sniff of your hand. And then does a little lick of your hand.
Can I investigate? What is this thing?
Roll to investigate the thing.
Neutral.
It's a floofy thing.
It's a floofy thing.
It's a floofy thing. Okay, well, do you want to do anything else with the thing?
I don't know what else there is I can do.
Would you like to try?
Last attempt. I'm gonna try and lie down and sort of put my hand towards it and see if that makes me seem less threatening so that I can befriend it.
Are you lying face down or face up?
Sort of on my side, I think. Just sort of getting laid down.
So you're lying down on this side next to it. Okay. It rolls over to sort of face you. And it puts its front paws and its back paws, or arms and legs, you're not quite sure. They're both about the same length. And it sort of puts them towards you and does a little shuffling motion. And all its fur jiggles as it floofs.
Have I made friends with a floofy thing?
I don't know. Roll to see if you made friends with the floofy thing.
A plus.
Okay. It rolls on its back and exposes its fuzzy jum-jum.
I have learnt from Smudge I should not attempt to do anything here.
So you're just going to leave it there?
Floofy thing, is it okay if I touch your tomkin?
It gives you
I'll sort of make a motion as if I'm going to do it and see how it responds.
It does, gives you sort of sideways looks.
Okay, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to touch the tomkin.
You touch the floof, and it is so soft and fuzzy and woo, and it's so lovely. And it does little purrings as you do the thing, and a little sort of almost a giggle. And you have befriended the floof. Congratulations!
Thank you.
There you go. That is the Snuggly RPG. The download for that will be available nowhere. just think of Snuggly Floofs, and you too can play Snuggly Floof RPG. Question time. It's time for questions.
What's the questions?
You'll have to give me a second. It's on a different page from where all the other things
Oh
are.
no, you got to change the page.
Oh no, that's the skits for later. Anne Berry Soft Friend. I love that name. If you were a plush, what kind of would you be? If you were a stuffy, what would you be?
That's a tough question. Have you got an answer?
Bunny! I want to be a bunny with big floppy ears.
Can I be a bunny too?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if we were both bunny with big floppy ears, then we could have that bunny ear fight from last week's questions.
There we go. Perfect answer.
Perfect. Jamie B. Good. If you were a transformer, what would your alternate mode be?
Oh, okay. So one of my forms is me, the human, humanoid, and I transform into something. I would transform into a butt.
Very on brand.
Yeah.
And now I feel bad about my answer. That's good. I like that you would be about. What sort of powers would the butt have? Jiggling powers.
Very, very comfortable to sit down on.
Does one sit on a butt?
I don't know. I'm sat on my butt right now.
Yeah. Oh, I should have gone with tentacles. I don't know why I didn't.
You can still do that.
No, it's okay. I suggested that I would be a mobile water cannon for use by the Antifa, so that they could have a bit of a fight back if there happened to be any sort of direct action that was going a bit squiffy due to, say, some sort of fascist enforcing police force wherever in the world that happened to be. And I've made it all very political again. Barbara Nicole Pitts would like to know, objectively terrible piece of non-game media that, because of one or two ideas or one well executed bit, you enjoy.
I don't know if this necessarily has any good bits, but an objectively terrible piece of media that I love that's not video games. The very first Power Rangers movie. It's objectively terrible and I love it.
Ooh.
I love that terrible film. With the entire villain being just, I made purple goop. It makes parents go evil. Kids have got to stop them.
That sounds... I need to watch that film with you at some point.
It's the villain Ivan Ooze. I feel like if they remade that film, Jim could do a really good job as the villain.
There we go. We'll start a petition on change.org
to get
remake
Jim to play
the first Power Rangers movie with Jim Sterling to play Ivan Ooze.
Exactly. What have you got for
Jim Sterling plus goo?
So, what's your objectively terrible piece of media that you kind of love?
Oh, have you ever seen The Stuff?
Yes.
I think a lot of people would argue that's objectively terrible.
Oh yeah, no, that's objectively terrible, and I kind of love it.
Sentient frozen yogurt from space that everyone's eating and makes your head explode and stuff. I'm not explaining it very well, and I've misremembered bits of it, but...
Do we both of our picks are films about, like, weird sludge that, like, you can eat it, you touch it, oh no, it's doing things to you because you shouldn't have interacted with it.
Nobody's made a really good movie about that. And yet, I can't help really, really loving The Stuff.
I feel like the 80s and 90s were the era of just, like, slime in movies, and that's really gone away, hasn't it?
When did we last get back sentient goo?
When did we last get a good slime goo movie?
Well, I mean, Pornhub's full of them. Hey! Becky Toohill. Oh, thank you for the book. What are you optimistic for?
I am optimistic, and this is going to sound like I'm just trying to plug myself, but I'm really optimistic about next year with the book stuff. I've gone up and down a bit, but like I'm optimistic that those books will do well when they come out.
I am optimistic for them too.
I keep getting things like this week we confirmed that we're doing an audiobook and I got a bunch of the people involved to like read things. So like I'm gonna have Justin McElroy's voice on an audiobook I put out. I'm quite hopeful about that. What about you?
That is my long term. I had the butt book specifically.
Oh,
I am.
Thank you.
I am long term optimistic for the butt book. I'm interested for the memoir as well, but I think I will have the most fun with the butt book.
The memoir is...
Fun is good.
Fun might not be the word for the memoir.
No, a little bit harrowing there.
But hopefully... Well, here's the thing. The end is quite hopeful.
I know.
Yeah. It has a positive end. You just got to do a bit of a
journey.
I
live at the end. I live at the end with the happy Laura. It's good. Short term though, the pre-Unicorn Dance Party weekend with the nerds. That weekend we're going out dancing and Unicorn Dance Party.
Indeed, all these things.
Yeah. Those are things. Jenny Artorias, hi! We met you at MCM. You're awesome. Favourite method of avoiding the horrors of a cruel and insane world?
Bury yourself in media.
Go out dancing.
Yeah. Go out dancing, forget the world. More of this. Play some video games.
I've lost my train of thought now. But board games with friends, very much so. Like just
do the things you love.
Do things to distract you with people you care about.
Yeah. Be with the people you care about, the people that you feel safe around, and do the things you love.
Yep. However you can, do those things.
Yeah.
Or, the other one I quite like is just going out into the woods for a walk.
Yeah. Go for a nice walk in the dark up a hill to watch some fireworks.
Yeah. The Wonder Goomer would like to know, what is better, a cloak or an overcoat?
Ooh. I've always been a fan of cloaks.
I own a couple of cloaks, and I think I look pretty good in a cloak. I do like an overcoat. I have worn overcoats in the past. I don't really have the figure to make an overcoat look good, because I think to make an overcoat look really good, I think for my own personal taste anyway. Like, I'm not saying that you can't if you are not, but like if you happen to be sort of a bit hourglassy shaped, and then the belt in the middle really pulls you in quite nicely. That's an aesthetic I quite like, but I don't have the option of.
I just feel magical in capes, so
I love. Every time I wear my cape, I do spend sort of a considerable amount of time just sort of gripping it about halfway down and going swish swish noises.
Just like superhero cape.
Oh yeah, and doing this the one cape bit over one over
doing
the
a little Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, a little bit hooded claw. Yeah, I like that one. Jorts in the shell. We'd like to know, what is your favourite piece of long form / academic game criticism?
Ooh, Have you got an answer for this prepared?
No. I can't really think. I don't tend to remember the articles very much. If someone brought up an article that you'd written, I'd probably remember it if it was mentioned, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you a piece of.
Here's the thing: I can't, off the top of my head, think of one that I want to someone else's that I would jump on and go, "That's the one."
Mm-hmm.
I've got one of my own that I'm really proud of, which was that Peter Molyneux.
Oh yeah,
that Peter Molyneux interview. I was really proud of.
That's the one where you made him cry, isn't it?
A little bit, but it's all right.
It's okay. You're still friends.
Ish. I occasionally get Skype messages from him. He doesn't seem to hate me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice that you can make someone cry and still be, on speaking terms afterwards. Tricky would like to know, how long, how far, and how much?
All of the distance, all the way over there, and all of it.
That's very similar to my answer. As long as it takes all the way and all the support in the war against inequality and fascism. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Jacob Marion would like to know, what is one skill that you wish you could master but you haven't yet or can't?
Playing the guitar. I just don't have the finger dexterity for it, the coordination, the fine motor control. That's the thing. Hooray, dyspraxia! I don't have any fine motor control.
That's my answer as well.
Yay!
And you can say that it's a matter of practice, but for when you've practiced pretty much every day for 6 months and you can't even do more than 3 chord changes in succession, I think you have to accept, and you can't play an F at all. Yeah. I think you have to accept that guitar playing is perhaps not for you.
My fingers don't do what I tell them.
Yeah.
They're naughty fingers.
I'm alright with a wind instrument. I can blow things.
Yeah.
I'm alright with a recorder. I'm alright with an ocarina.
Yeah.
I could probably play a slide whistle.
Yeah, what other questions we got?
Gabo Sipilevsky would like to know, if you were to cameo in a game or game series, what would it be and what would your cameo be like?
I want to be in Beyond Good and Evil, and I'll be another journalist who's just in the background being like, yeah, down with the fascist alien government.
Nice.
I'll just be in the background doing journalism.
I'd be in a Rabbids game.
Ooh.
I'd be wearing a Rabbids onesie. And just sort of I'd just be sort of almost off the screen on one side, maybe. Just waving at someone.
Maybe in a crowd shot somewhere.
Maybe in a crowd shot, or pulling like a plunger off my face to reveal it was me underneath. But with very clearly a zip up the front. In like a Rabbids crowd scene. I think that'd be quite fun.
Oh.
Maybe smooching Rabbid Peach. I've got to change over.
Change the page.
Change the page.
What's on the next page?
Fryfurb Fringe would like to know what for both of you is a piece of media that you love that starts bad and gets good.
Starts bad and gets good. Actually, I've got an answer for this. The first Mass Effect game. Mass Effect 1 starts shit. It is slow on plot, has a really bland shooting section, and really doesn't do anything to, like, get you into that game. I tried playing that game and stopped, like, within the first 3 hours multiple times before I got past the bit that's bad and got to where it's like, oh, here's all the characters, and here's all the interesting people, and here's all the plots you care about, and all the interesting places to shoot things. Like, that's a game that starts bad and gets good.
I've got a couple, and they're both probably going to be quite distressing to some people, because I suppose they would be slightly controversial choices. The first one I thought up was Adventure Time, because the first season of that is not its best.
Oh, yeah, no, like, we've had this conversation. I tried watching Adventure Time a few times and kept not getting through the first season.
The first season can be a bit gruelling at times.
Yeah, I've seen later stuff from that show, and it definitely seems to be better later than it is early.
It gets so much better, and it's weird. Recently, I started watching it again, and
We both did. Shh. I don't think we've made a secret of the fact we're watching it.
Yeah, and there's there's just lines in there that aren't good, just like objectively bad lines at times, and the way certain characters act have been slightly wonky. And then you get to the finale, which I watched like a couple of months ago, and I was in fucking tears for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So clearly a lot changed in that time. But it is weird sort of going back to those first episodes and just going, so yeah, it's not bad, but it's certainly not as good as it gets.
That definitely seems like a good pick.
The other one would be Star Trek Next Generation, because no Star Trek really starts all that good.
Yeah, it is a lot of world building for a while.
Troy the Galactic Space Cheerleader.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot in that first season and a half that's not the best. There's some brilliant stuff in there as well. Like it was a bit of hit and miss though.
It's not consistent.
It's not consistent, and it hasn't really sort of grown into itself yet. But again, you know, by the time they're sort of getting towards sort of season 6 and 7, like it's getting pretty damn epic. You've got some awesome stuff going on there, but like Encounter at Farpoint is not the best episode in the world.
You got any more questions?
Yeah! Ollie Hood, what's your favourite number?
Ooh. I don't know, that's a difficult one. Have you got a favourite number?
42.
42. Is it because of the hitchhikers?
Because of the towel thing.
The towel thing? I'm going to say 69, because it makes me do a giggle. It's a sex number.
It's also got rotational symmetry.
It does. It's really satisfying as a number.
Yeah, I like it for multiple reasons.
You can make a very satisfying sort of yin-yang symbol out of a 6 and a 9.
Yin and yang, yeah. Drob. Hi, Drob.
Hi, Drob.
We'd like to know, have you seen The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
No, I've not started yet. So I was a bit put off by the first things I heard about it were like, the cat doesn't talk anymore. And I was like, yeah, they have a Salem the cat, he doesn't talk. And apparently like the aunts lack the sort of two elderly lesbians energy that they once upon a time had. And I'm like, I feel sad about this. Apparently there's a lot of gay stuff later on. I've also heard, like, some stuff about, like, apparently it's a little bit sexualizing of characters who are, like, in school still, which I've not watched it myself, but, like, I've heard conflicting things.
Now, see, the thing that got me that I'd heard about was the fact they were equating witchcraft to Satanism.
Huh.
And that's not cool.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of witchy friends, and that's not cool.
I want to check it at some point, but there's been enough things where I've been like, I'm not going to rush to watch this.
Yeah, there's
it's
other
just-
things on my list I could be watching.
It's not demanding my attention right now.
Mm. But yeah, let us know if it is good, if it does have some redeeming qualities. That is it for questions. So, do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social justice warriors. All right, Larry.
Alright, Barry, how are you doing this week?
Yeah, you know, it's enjoying a lot of fireworks recently, but does lead to a certain degree of concern, of course.
Oh, yeah. As much as I enjoy seeing a good firework, I've got my own struggles with them. I struggle with the sound of them occasionally. It's not the worst thing in the world for me, but
Yeah.
I think it's important we spare a thought for, those in the world for whom this fireworks season can be a little more traumatic, I think.
Exactly, there's obviously the issue of animals that gets brought up quite a lot. There's a lot of very sensitive dogs and cats and various other animals. I can't imagine a chinchilla doing terribly well at this time of year.
There was a very sad story I saw pop up literally this week. There was a horse that just ran until it died because it was very terrified by nearby fireworks being set off constantly.
Yeah, and whereas people can very much, do a lot more, I suppose, for a dog or cat living in a suburban household. They can probably be, a bit more sort of taken care of and spent time with. I suppose horses being out of doors a lot of the time, probably not much you can do with that.
Well, what you can do is if you're doing a fireworks display, be a bit, conscious of if you're going and doing fireworks out in a field somewhere, think about the fact that there's got to be wildlife around.
Yes.
That you might want to go like, look, this is happening. Just check that. Make sure we're not doing this anywhere near wildlife that might get distressed.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like if you're doing a home residential one, maybe just warn people who live like, a few doors either side of you. Hey, I'm going to be doing fireworks just so you're aware there might be some loud banging near your home.
Yeah, and then that sort of falls into the help of advising people who might have like PTSD or something like that.
Yeah, or people who might have sensory processing things. Just making sure if these people are going to be very, very close to where you're doing fireworks, maybe just, it doesn't hurt to give them a heads up.
Exactly.
Like, we had the other night, fireworks going off right near me, right near where I was, unexpectedly. Can't be more than a tour or two down, can't be?
No, I didn't see more than that.
It was far too... I was having a bad time. It was not
You
a good
were.
time with that volume. But, yeah, I think it doesn't hurt to just go, a couple of doors either side, make sure people know. Don't do it in, near wildlife out in the wilderness.
Yeah, and I like. For me, fireworks is more about the spectacle, about the sight of it, rather than the actual explosions. So, I don't know. Perhaps we could try and do something to make fireworks less noisy. I realise essentially they are basically explosions, but you do see ones that don't seem to make an awful lot of noise, but have amazing colours and so forth. So what's to say that we could maybe do less of the air grenades and more of the pretty twinkly things?
Indeed. Just
Call me a killjoy if you like.
I'm not saying you can't do these things, but just maybe be a bit thoughtful about how you do them.
Exactly, maybe take a bit more care about, say like for inner cities you do less of the explodey things, and then for, where there is, it's going to disturb less people overall, and as long as you can keep it away from farm animals, perhaps.
Or try and do them on the nights that people expect them,
Yeah, rather than several weeks.
You've maybe got the weekend before and weekend after bonfire night and bonfire night itself, and maybe just restrict to those.
Well, there's another one around this time as well, isn't there? That's usually celebrated with fireworks. I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but I think you're right. But you know what? Keep it to those the nights that are sort of designated nights.
Yeah, Diwali was the one I was thinking of.
Diwali, and that's not far off of.
No, it was 7th of November this year.
Well, that's it. So that first week or two in November. People know to be prepared for it. Don't catch them off guard by some, fireworks in the middle of nowhere time.
Yeah, exactly. And, the thing is that very often you'll find it ends up being most of the month. We've had a couple like right at the beginning of or right towards the end of last month before like Halloween and stuff, and then we had this weekend. We had specifically yesterday because it was bonfire night yesterday. We got Diwali tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, you tend to get that sort of rolling on a little bit. I imagine there's a few people in the UK even who will celebrate like 4th of July, which is obviously earlier in the year, and then you've got Thanksgiving. Some people will do fireworks for that.
Yeah.
It does seem to go on very much throughout November.
Just be thoughtful of the fact that these are like potentially scary explosives you're setting off.
Yeah.
And you're like, the least you can do is keep them away from animals and warn people so that they can, be safe.
Exactly. And it's not about trying to stop people having fun. It's about, have fun, but be a bit considerate of other people.
Be considerate of the fact that you're having fun with with explosives.
And maybe don't set fire to effigies of tower blocks.
Yeah, that's a bit shitty.
That's very shitty.
Yeah. Should we have that hug?
Oh, please, mate. Yeah.
Good old platonic hugs.
Always. It was very nice to just, just
recharge
bond.
the soul.
Yeah,
Recharge the soul.
Get the oxytocin in there.
Yeah.
It's good for you. Yeah. I mean, generally a much more positive week this week, I think.
Could have been worse.
Well, I think we made the effort to make it overall less sad.
Right, sure, go have that cup of tea.
Yeah, I'll put the kettle on. Laura?
Yes?
Where can you find you on the internet, darling?
Where can you find me on the internet? You can find me on the internet. I'm not going to do that voice the whole way through this. You can find me at Laura K Buzz pretty much everywhere. Laura K Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You can find me Monday to Friday 9 to 5 at kotaku.co.uk. You can find my books at various places. You can find Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, which is on Unbound. We recently added an audiobook tier, so you can now read the ebook while I read in your ears, and so do Justin McElroy, Greg Miller, Tim Geddes, Jim Sterling, Ashens, a bunch of other people probably by the time this episode goes up will read the book into your ears while you look at the pretty pictures. You can find Uncomfortable Labels, which is coming out in July 2019. You can find that on various online retailers. Amazon in most countries, Book Depository in the UK. You can find me on Dice Funk. It's 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Real Play podcast. I'm on seasons 3, 4 and 5. They're all self-contained stories. Season 3 I don't show up until a little ways in, but stick with it. What about you? Where are you on the internet?
I am Maniac Janiac on Twitter and YouTube. I am Jane Eris Magnet on SoundCloud, where you might be listening to this now. I can also be found on stonemonkeyradio.blog, where I write reviews and stuff. And every Thursday I am over at twitch.tv/Janiac. That's Janeaic, where I'm on Twitch streaming games, whatever takes my fancy. And I chat to the fans. And sometimes you come along and we play Mario Party together.
Yay!
And it's fun.
It is fun.
It is fun. And so maybe at some point we'll do some Jackbox on there too.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. So that's us. So
until next time, be a stranger.